This is a story called The Little Witch's Big Kindness Spell. Chapter 1: The Lonely Little Witch. Once upon a time, in the heart of the enchanted forest, there lived a little witch named Willow. Willow was unlike any other witch you might have heard about in spooky tales. She didn't cackle with wicked laughter, stir bubbling cauldrons, or cast spells to frighten folks. Instead, she was a gentle witch with a heart full of kindness and a longing for friendship. Willow had a special dream, one she held dear in her heart. You see, despite living in a magical forest where animals spoke and fantastic creatures roamed, Willow felt incredibly lonely. She yearned for friends to share secrets with, to play games beneath the silvery moon, and to laugh with by the cozy glow of a campfire. Every year, as Halloween drew near, the enchanted forest buzzed with excitement. Goblins and fairies, talking animals, and wise old tree spirits all gathered to celebrate the most enchanting night of the year. They prepared costumes, danced around bonfires, and shared stories of their adventures. It was a time of joy, unity, and making cherished memories. But Willow, despite her kind heart and the magic she possessed, kept herself hidden away in her snug little cottage. She watched the festivities from her window, her heart heavy with a mixture of longing and fear. You see, Willow was different in appearance from the other creatures of the forest. She wore a long, pointy hat, a robe adorned with shimmering stars, and had a crooked nose that she quite liked. Her bright, twinkling eyes sparkled with kindness, and her dark hair flowed like the treetops of the forest. Instead of a traditional broomstick, she rode her trusty old bicycle, which she affectionately named Buzzy. Yet, Willow worried that her unique appearance might scare the other creatures away. She was afraid that she might make a mistake, say something wrong, or not fit in with the Halloween revelry. So, each year, she stayed inside her cozy cottage, alone with her thoughts, as the enchanted forest outside filled with laughter and merriment. Little did Willow know that this year, something extraordinary was destined to happen. This year, within the dusty confines of her attic, she would stumble upon a spell that would set her on a remarkable journey, one that would teach her about the magic of kindness and the power of friendship. Willow's adventure was about to begin, and the enchanted forest held many enchanting surprises for her. Chapter 2: A Magical Discovery. One crisp and golden morning, while exploring her cozy cottage, Willow decided to venture up to her dusty old attic. It was a place she rarely visited, filled with forgotten trinkets, old books, and curious odds and ends. Willow was on a quest for something, though she wasn't quite sure what it was. She climbed up the rickety wooden stairs and pushed open the creaky attic door. Dust danced in the sunlight as she stepped into the dimly lit space. It was like stepping into a secret world of forgotten memories. As Willow poked around, her eyes fell upon a dusty, old bookshelf in the far corner. It seemed to be holding a collection of books that were much older than she was. She carefully selected a worn leather-bound book and blew away the dust that covered its cover. The title, Spells of the Enchanted Forest, was embossed in faded gold letters. Curiosity piqued, Willow opened the book and began to flip through its pages. She marveled at the beautiful illustrations of enchanting creatures and whispered incantations. Each page seemed to hold a secret, and she couldn't help but be drawn deeper into the world of magic. Then, something extraordinary caught her eye. It was a page with a spell she had never seen before, a spell with the promise of bringing friends to those who dared to cast it. It was called the Kindness Spell, and it seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. The spell's instructions were written in elegant script. Willow read them carefully. To cast the kindness spell, one had to perform an act of kindness, a genuine act that came from the heart. The spell promised that if this act was pure and true, it would attract friends like a beacon in the night. Willow's heart raced with excitement. Could this be the answer to her loneliness? Could this spell help her make friends and finally join in the Halloween festivities of the Enchanted Forest? Determined to give it a try, Willow closed the old spell book and placed it carefully in her bag. She knew she had to find an opportunity to perform a true act of kindness, and what better day than Halloween, when everyone would be celebrating together. With newfound hope and a sense of purpose, Willow descended from the attic, clutching the spell book close to her heart. She looked out the window and saw the sun casting a warm, golden glow over the enchanted forest. It was a sign that today was the day she would set out on a magical adventure, one that would lead her to discover the true power of kindness and the wonderful world of friendship. Little did she know that her journey had only just begun, and that the enchanted forest had many surprises and delightful challenges in store for her. Willow was ready to embark on this enchanting quest, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead her. Chapter 3: A Mysterious Visitor. As the sun continued to shine brightly over the enchanted forest, Willow felt her heart dancing with excitement. She had discovered the kindness spell in her dusty old attic, and today was the perfect day to put it to the test, for it was Halloween, the day when magic filled the air and friendship was in the making. Willow decided to start her quest by preparing her little cottage for a Halloween party. She decorated the walls with colorful paper bats and twinkling stars, and she arranged a table with bowls of sweet treats and apple cider. Everything looked cozy and inviting, just as she had imagined a friendly gathering should be. With her cottage all set, Willow stepped outside to enjoy the crisp autumn air. She had a feeling that her act of kindness was about to reveal itself. As she strolled along a forest path, her eyes scanned the surroundings, searching for an opportunity to make a friend. And then, as if by magic, it happened. At the edge of the path, she spotted a tiny black cat, its fur sleek and shiny as midnight itself. The cat looked lost, and its big, round eyes were filled with confusion and a touch of fear. Willow's heart went out to the little creature. She knelt down, held out her hand, and said in her gentlest voice, "Hello there, little one. Are you lost?" The black cat cautiously approached, sniffed Willow's hand, and then gave it a friendly nuzzle. It was as if the cat sensed Willow's kindness and had found a kindred spirit. "I'll call you Midnight," Willow said with a warm smile. "How would you like to join me for a Halloween party? We'll have lots of fun, I promise." Midnight let out a soft purr as if to say, "Yes, please." It seemed that Willow had found her first friend, and it had happened with a simple act of kindness. Together, Willow and Midnight headed back to her cottage. As they walked, they chatted about their favorite things, and Willow learned that Midnight loved chasing fireflies and curling up by a warm fire just as much as she did. When they reached the cottage, Midnight jumped onto the windowsill, watching as Willow added a cozy cushion for her new friend. As the sun began to set and the stars started to twinkle in the evening sky, Willow realized that she no longer felt lonely. She had taken a chance, offered kindness to a lost little cat, and now she had a friend to share Halloween with. Willow knew that this was just the beginning of her magical adventure, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead her next. And so, on that enchanting Halloween night, Willow and Midnight were ready to embark on their journey together, with the promise of friendship and the kindness spell to guide them. Little did they know that they would soon discover the true meaning of Halloween and the incredible power of friendship that it held. Chapter 4: The Enchanted Halloween Party. As Halloween night descended upon the enchanted forest, Willow and her newfound friend, Midnight, were bubbling with excitement. Willow's cozy cottage was now adorned with colorful decorations and twinkling lights, giving it a warm and inviting glow. The scent of freshly baked pumpkin cookies filled the air, making the forest around them smell like a sweet dream. Willow and Midnight had a special plan for this Halloween. They wanted to share their joy and friendship with the creatures of the enchanted forest. Willow believed that the kindness spell she had discovered could bring more friends into their lives, just like it had with Midnight. The first guest to arrive was a friendly squirrel named Nutty. Nutty had heard about Willow's party and had brought a handful of acorns as a gift. Willow welcomed Nutty with a warm smile and thanked him for his thoughtful present. Then, a group of chatty birds perched on the branches outside, their feathers shimmering in various shades of blue, red, and green. They sang a sweet melody to celebrate the occasion. Willow and Midnight listened, enchanted by the beautiful music. Soon after, a gentle breeze swept through the forest, and the leaves on the trees rustled with excitement. Out popped a curious raccoon named Rusty, who had smelled the irresistible aroma of pumpkin cookies. Willow happily shared her treats with Rusty, and he couldn't have been happier. The party continued to grow as word of Willow's warm-hearted celebration spread throughout the enchanted forest. Fairies with glistening wings danced in the moonlight, and goblins told funny stories that made everyone laugh. Wise old tree spirits shared their ancient wisdom, and even a bashful unicorn made a brief appearance. As Willow looked around at all her new friends, she realized that the kindness spell had worked its magic. Each guest had been drawn to her cottage by the kindness she and Midnight had shown. They didn't see a spooky witch, they saw a kind and welcoming friend. Midnight, who had been by Willow's side the whole time, purred contentedly as she enjoyed the company of new friends. She had found a loving home with Willow and had now gained a whole community of friends to share her adventures. Underneath the starry sky, the enchanted forest was alive with laughter and joy. Willow's Halloween party had become a magical tradition, a gathering that celebrated the power of kindness and the beauty of friendship. As the night grew darker and the moon shone brightly overhead, Willow couldn't have been happier. She had discovered that true friendship came not from the way you looked, but from the kindness and warmth within your heart. And so, on that enchanting Halloween night, Willow, Midnight, and all their newfound friends continued to dance, laugh, and share stories under the twinkling stars. It was a night filled with the magic of kindness, a night that would be remembered in the enchanted forest for years to come. The adventure of Willow and Midnight was far from over, and they couldn't wait to see what other enchanting surprises the enchanted forest held for them. Chapter 5: Willow's Heartwarming Halloween. As the night unfolded in the enchanted forest, Willow's Halloween party continued to be a magical gathering of friends. Laughter filled the air, and the soft glow of lanterns illuminated the smiles on the faces of all the creatures who had come to celebrate. Willow danced with the fairies, listened to the stories of the goblins, and even shared a friendly chat with the bashful unicorn. Midnight, her loyal feline friend, had made herself comfortable on a cushion, basking in the warmth of the festivities. As the evening progressed, something remarkable happened. Willow noticed that the creatures of the enchanted forest began to change their perception of her. They saw not just a witch, but a kind-hearted friend who had welcomed them with open arms. Willow felt her heart swell with happiness. The old tree spirits, known for their wisdom, approached Willow. Their gnarled branches extended in a gesture of friendship, and they spoke in deep, rumbling voices. "We have watched you, dear Willow," one of the tree spirits said. "Your kindness and warm heart have touched us all. You have shown us that appearances can be deceiving, and friendship knows no bounds." Willow nodded, feeling deeply moved by their words. She had learned that it was her actions and her kindness that truly defined her, not her appearance. As the night wore on, and the sky turned a deep, velvety blue, the enchanted forest creatures began to depart. They all had their own homes to return to, but they left with hearts full of gratitude for the magical Halloween party that Willow had hosted. Before they left, Nutty the squirrel approached Willow once more. He handed her a shiny acorn with a heartfelt smile. "Thank you for being our friend, Willow," Nutty said. "You've made this Halloween unforgettable." With a twinkle in her eye, Willow accepted the acorn. It was a symbol of the friendships she had formed on this special night, a reminder that kindness had the power to create lasting bonds. As the last guest departed, and the forest settled into a peaceful stillness, Willow and Midnight found themselves alone once more. But this time, it was a different kind of solitude. It was the warm and content solitude of knowing that they were surrounded by friends who cared about them. Willow and Midnight snuggled together on the windowsill, looking out at the moonlit forest. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they also knew that they had discovered something truly magical, something that went beyond spells and potions. They had discovered the magic of kindness, the power of being true to oneself, and the joy of friendship. Willow realized that Halloween was not just about costumes and sweets. It was about connecting with others and sharing the love in one's heart. And so, as the stars glittered in the night sky and the forest whispered its secrets, Willow and Midnight settled into a peaceful slumber. They knew that their hearts were forever changed by this heartwarming Halloween, and they looked forward to the adventures and friendships that lay ahead in the enchanted forest. And as they drifted into dreams filled with laughter and kindness, they knew that they were surrounded by the true magic of Halloween, a magic that would continue to shine in their hearts for all the Halloweens to come.